Good morning, traders and investors around the world. Welcome to this Monday, April 4th edition of Pre-Market Prep Plus. Joel and joined by Brent Slava here. On the first Monday in April, let's cover the futures, and then we'll get to Brent and some of his topics here. S&Ps were in the green by 3.5 at 42.75. Crude in the green by 3.25 at 102.45. Gold in the green by 12.90, 1936.60. Silver, that's in the red, or excuse me, silver's in the green too, 19 cents, 24.85. Bitcoin futures, a little underwater, down 3.90, 46.160. Ethereum futures are down just a smidgen, $8 at 44.76.50. I'm going to stop the screen share here. I'm going to bring in Brent Slava. He is head of the Benzinga Pro news desk. And Brent, I think the first thing I have to add, obviously the big news is with the Twitter. Elon, he put some tweets out about this last week, right? Did you catch any of those about Twitter and social media? So I kind of thought he kind of gave a little bit of a heads up on that. Did you see that from the Twitter feeds, or am I imagining?
I didn't see it, Joe. You're ahead of me on this one.
Okay.
And I like when that happens. So,
okay. Yeah, take a look.
But I heard that he was, it seemed like he was preempting a little bit. And then what do you know, comes out this morning in a 13G filing. He's got a 9.2% stake, I think it was, Joel.
9.8. Yep.
That's a hefty stake.
Yep.
Yeah. So thought it was going to be the news item that pretty much everyone was talking about today. So I wanted to focus on it here for briefing with Brent on a Monday morning in April, Joel. I think Twitter shares up like 20% or something like that, right?
They are up 21.62%, and came off the pre-market high. Now, so you caught some tweets here. We haven't heard from our boy Dougie in a while, huh?
Doug Cass
over at taking out to the Twitter sphere.
Yeah. So he tweeted this morning, and just another perspective here. Maybe you know about Doug Cass, maybe you don't know about him, but at least one other perspective here, and we got a couple other perspectives we're going to share. But Doug Cass, he said he called it a short rental, Joel, in Twitter, following the Musk announcement. So assuming he means he's just kind of seeing how it goes for a little bit. If the short goes well, cool, he'll probably take some profit. If it doesn't go well, he'll probably take it off the table pretty quickly here. I think that's what he meant by saying a short rental. What do you think about Dougie Cass?
Yeah, I mean, we had him on the show a while ago, and then we couldn't get him back. And I mean, he's been around for a while, so
kind of one of those old school guys, right?
Yeah,
like he's been around a while.
Seems
like a pretty darn smart guy, and a little bit less in the last couple of years, but people like to see the calls that he puts on Twitter, and I thought it was relevant to the story here today.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a huge move, right? You clear. So I'll just do a little bit technical. Full disclosure, I sold 3/4 of my Twitter position, I believe right around after the last earnings, around 55, 56.
Okay.
If it got back up there, I think I'll just hold on. The reason I just keep a little bit, just for so when it goes down
to keep
30,
track of them, right?
Yeah. So when it goes down to 30, I'm not crying. And then when it, if it gets taken out at 60, I'm like, oh, what a genius. I held 1/4 of the position, one of those.
You're always thinking, Joel.
Yeah. For me, it was a good opportunity. This thing comes out, gets over $50, and you come in, you're trading this thing, you're on Friday. Oh man, it couldn't take out Friday's high. It can't close over 40. It's going to roll over. And then boom. So automatically, anyone with the 41, 42, 43, 44, all the way up 49 calls, they got a free look at it. So, so there has to be some selling pressure, I think initially just to take profits. This is all of a sudden Twitter's up 22%. When are you going to get those kind of moves again? If you think he's going up another 22% tomorrow, then you're wrong. And if Musk is going to buy more, then he's going to wait for a pullback. He's not going to be hand over fist.
That's smart, Joel.
I think it's a good move. I think Twitter's been
Prudent, right?
yeah, yep, 100-year underperformer. So it's just compared to the other tech stocks. All right, something else I wanted to touch with Jan. How many times in your Brent experience backlog
Okay.
have you seen a company stop their buyback?
Not very often. Investors love buybacks, Joel. And
Yes.
I think that I mean it's two if we have a category of dividend of shareholder payouts, there's I mean earnings, of course, but there's
Right.
dividends and there's buybacks. There's really two ways. So they either go with one or the other or both. And yeah, I mean investors don't love stopping buybacks, but it seems like a pretty prudent thing right now considering the environment that we're in. I think this is going to be something that we are going to start seeing some more of. And Starbucks can certainly be a trendsetter in this regard. I think we might look back and go, yep, Starbucks maybe was one of the first mega cap companies that wanted to retain a little bit more cash. Yes, the downside is that they're not going to be paying as much out to their shareholders, but if it's bringing in, again, that word, some prudency, I guess, then maybe it's a smart move here.
Yeah, and how happy is Howard Schultz having to go back to work? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we talked about this a lot on the pre-market prep show, but I thought that was that was pretty unusual. And then okay, just a couple other topics just for the week.
Sure.
Earnings kind of quiet, right?
Earnings definitely kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Econ kind of quiet. We got GDP last week, so that
Hmm.
one's off. We got our GDP last week. We got our jobs data last week. So those are kind of like number one and two data points that we can track. Let me see when like our next inflation reading
Your
is.
next thing, I just what did you I mean, I know it's been a while since we've, done this together, staring at the screen, on numbers and stuff and getting your
Yeah.
reaction.
Mhm.
But when that jobs number came out, right, it was like it was a good number, right? I mean, you look at
Absolutely
it,
was a good number.
unemployment's good.
Yes. Yep.
But no
Unemployment
one
down. Yeah, that's kind of, people look at the payroll figures, they look at the non-farm figures and the private sector figures, but really the unemployment rate is kind of the biggest thing that we want to look at.
but what I noticed is no one wanted to buy. It
Mhm.
wasn't a stampede to sell. But it was
Yeah,
like, like I'm not, like the big month. Sometimes you see, oh, well, this was more like when we were coming out of COVID and stuff, lifting offers. But
sure.
it was just like the offers are out there and they weren't getting lifted, and then they decided to come down, and then you ended up at actually having a sell off and the late day comeback. But to me, I don't know. I'm just after the big run the market had, and then you get a benign number like that,
Hmm.
just my reaction to it. Also, I don't know. Like we shift our different focus on things, and what was a couple Fed meetings ago that really stirred things up. It was a big day in the market. Now we got the minutes from the last Fed meeting coming out on Wednesday, and with the market up here over the last couple weeks, the Fed probably got a little bit more room to take rates up. Maybe that make that dreaded half point move on or at least that's what the notes will reveal.
I think that, we should get the half point move out of the way. I think the Fed is probably trying to do it earlier in the cycle versus later in the cycle. I think the market might freak out a little bit if they did it later at like towards the end of this year. I think it's probably going to be, if I had to guess, rather uneducated guess, I think it's going to probably have to be in like the next two meetings that they would do it. Joel, your comment on the jobs data last week, we haven't, like you and I haven't looked at these numbers together just because we haven't been, going on the same path necessarily. But I don't think it's that. I think it's more so that we're just continuing to get information faster and faster in our world. And I think that with a lot of these data points, the whipsaw action is removed because the market is getting a lot of information between the data points. We got a lot of insight into what our GDP might be like. We got a lot of insight into what jobs might be like just in the last month from February to March, you know. So I think that there's less whipsaw action on data points nowadays because yeah, the market is doing a better job digesting some of this information. And so just like you kind of hinted at, you know, we did end up selling off last week on the jobs data, but it was like way later in the day. It wasn't right as the data point happened. And years ago we would watch a jobs data or a GDP data point and the market would go way higher or way lower and then kind of like settle back down after that. I think that's the new normal is less price action right when we get these data points.
I did. I missed your first topic here, and we always like to provide education right here on
Sure.
Pre-Market Prep Plus, and there's different kind of filing processes here. 13G
Yeah.
versus 13D. I think that'd
Yep.
be if you have another minute or two here
Yeah,
to
sure.
discuss the filing process, a little education.
A little gotta love the education, right, Joel? So we had a Benzinga buddy over at Wedbush, Dan Ives. He was commenting this morning on the Elon Musk stake in Twitter, and he said that he thinks it's highly unlikely that so the stake that we saw from Elon Musk was via a 13G filing. A 13G filing is a quote passive stake in a company. If it's over, if an investor's stake in a company is over 5%, they have to either file a 13G, a passive stake, or a 13D, an active stake. And back to Dan Ives saying it's highly unlikely that Elon Musk's stake in Twitter will remain a passive stake. He thinks he'll change it over to a 13D filing, which indicates an active stake. What do you get with that? Well, that's
Hmm.
when that term activist comes into play. That's where if a filer has a 13D an activist stake, it means that they are intending to engage with management. They're intending to want to try to make some changes in the company's operations. If they're a 13G filing, a passive stake, they're basically going along for the ride. They love what management is doing. They want to see a benefit from what management is doing. Musk potentially taking a 13D stake in the next little bit here could mean that he wants to get involved with management. He wants to be influencing management. He wants to be trying to make some changes at the company. And I think there's some investors that would cringe at that and say, you know, let Elon Musk do his thing with cars and energy. But I bet most of the investors are gonna love it that Elon Musk is potentially wanting to get involved in Twitter and putting to use some of that feedback that he was given on the algorithm and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay. That's great input here. And then yeah, Becky Quick to steal one from her.
What she what?
She said that he's going to increase the number of characters to 420. I'm totally stealing
Becky,
that.
that's
Yeah, she's the one that's on in the
she's
morning,
quick.
right? I have it
Yeah,
on for
yep.
about 38 seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
she's like at the 7 a.m. or the 6 a.m. show, Joe.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then just like the other thing, and this is just me, probably showing my old ageness and everything,
Oh,
but
here we go. Here we go. Let's hear it.
he wants to like with the algorithm and increase like the free speech and everything. I think there's a lot of free. Am I wrong? There
I
seems to be a hell of a lot of free speech on Twitter, and
let's
I've had some Twitter rage lately. I've sent some mean Twitter things, so I'm in a Twitter. I put myself in a Twitter timeout
yeah.
because I sent some mean tweets. But I mean,
Joel, be
I think it's
nice.
I think nice. What do you think? I mean, I think
I
it's
am
pretty free speech.
I absolutely do not disagree. I'm intrigued to see what Elon would want to
Good
do
word.
with this. Like in Elon we trust sometimes, right? If we think that Tesla is an innovative company, if we think that, SpaceX is an innovative company, the Boring Company is an innovative company, then, I'm excited by this development because I have always thought Twitter was uh an underappreciated
Yeah, I agree.
company when it comes to investors, when it comes to Wall Street. I think it's one of the better social medias out there. And if, this supposedly innovative mind and Elon Musk wants to see what he can do, I'm like, Awesome. Let's see where this goes together, Joel. We're
They
we're
got
we're learning together. We'll learn
Yeah,
together.
they got the user base. That's for sure. All right. Well, we're going to let Brent Slava go. He's head of the Benzinga Pro news desk. He puts out all that trade, great information for you to follow the markets on a daily basis. So, Brent, thanks for coming on. And
Anytime, always, Joel.
yeah, you headed back downtown at all? You got any plans on that, or
I've been
would
going
you?
in. I went in the last few weeks on Fridays. I want to try to go in on Wednesdays, I think, but
Okay.
Fridays have been pretty quiet, so I might like shift the day when people are around. I want to, do some brainstorming with the other
Okay.
zingers. So,
All
yeah, I'll see
right.
you down there, Joel, in the next few
Okay.
weeks, hopefully.
All right. All
All
right.
right, have a
Thank you,
good
Brent.
week. Good
All
luck,
right.
everyone.
We just had a little drop here. Let me share my charts. I got Bill Big D. We'll see what issues you have on your radar today. I can share my screen, and I didn't talk much about the technicals about the S&Ps this morning, and wasn't really able to get anything off overnight. But had a nice rally on Friday, and we came back. We ended up we closed down we closed up just a little bit. But what I'm looking at here in the pre-market is, we're up $5.50. You have your pre-market high, 51 and a quarter. That's not too far away. You have your actual Globex high on Friday, just a few handles above that. And then I got a good weekly number just above that. So I think if the market wants to have a good week, that late day end of the quarter sell off here, you're going to have plenty of opportunity here this morning to, take out the pre-market high, get bid in the 45.50 handle, and then things really, really open up here getting into Thursday's intraday high. That's a long ways away as a result of the end of the quarter sell off here. But that's the setup for the S&P 500 index futures. I think Bill said a smart move to sell, what he was referring to in Twitter. Well, I'm definitely the small stake I have. I'm not going to be selling into this, nor am I going to be buying into this rally here today. If anything, hopefully maybe get a little fade back lower. But I think now with Musk in this, it's going to be hard. If you're looking for levels, don't do this a whole lot, but I just 50. This could be a battle at $50. Like if the Bulls really want to run with this today, whatever. What's the pre-market high? The pre-market high is over 50. But as you can see on the initial news, the seller at 50, he was getting done better. He was getting done at 40.57, 40.50. And then he figured out, you know what, I'll back off. I'll really see what the thirst for buyers in the 50 handle is. And it went to 51.20. And then they just came in with another just huge, boatload and ended up, selling it down. So just that 50, I don't even know if there's anything on the dailies there. Not really. But this is like, if you're looking for a big day, then they should make quick work of this buck. It's 80 that we're off 50, get over 50 and hold. Since you had to soft people like Doug Cass that were looking for this thing to fill the gap. You got under $47, 46.76. That's the low since looking at the high. So, like, if I had to guess, and I had to, look at the early range, I'd say, just under 47 support, 46.87. And let's see if they can get that 50 number. We did when you came down hard off the last bar. 49.70 was the high between your 8 and 8.15 bar for shares of Twitter. Getting a few questions here on other social media stocks and whether they're going to move. This is pretty specific news to Twitter. So I don't know if you're expecting a big move like in Snap. I don't know if you're going to get that today, but we can just look at the technicals for Snap. When I think about these stocks, up 55 cents, kind of bid in a trading range here, tried to fill the gap. They couldn't. If you want a focus number for today, if you're a Snap trader, let's just go right across here. And let's go high for Friday. High for Friday's 33.34. Excuse me. That's not right. Come on, data window. I don't want to see March 7th. What was your high on Friday? Your high on Friday was 38.60. You're not there yet. So, boom. High on Friday, and not the greatest tape. So, if you're looking for more follow through on this, keep an eye on Friday's high. Get through that. Things open up to another potential double top. But once again, the news is kind of more specific to Twitter. The high close for the week too. If you're looking for an intermediate number, you are above that right now at 37.87. But 38.60, that's your big number for Snapchat, PINS. Now, I drove this pretty little range and it broke out of the bottom of the range. Now you're back up, trying to get back in it. So if you can get back above and hold 28 and a quarter, maybe you can work your way back up towards the $27 area. If you're looking to buy it on the cheap, a pair of lows at the end of the week, 24.51 and 24.58. So we got snap pins. Who else kind of falls into that category? Really, really nobody else, right? So, all right. Any other issues that you guys want to take a look at? Just got a quick questions here about China, and this is kind of just a follow, like the news. They're reiterating the news from Friday on this one. Trading up 485. My still focused number for this has been the high of the closing rebound high. That's been at 117.24. So yeah, you've been through it since you had that. You've been through it on 3 different occasions. But you've never really been able to hold it. So, and now you're still $2 away. So that's my focus number for Baba. For Baidu, see if I can give you a similar number. It looks like that peaked just under 149 and it's leaking. Same thing with Baidu here. I don't know what the high close to the rebound is. I don't follow this one as much. High close for the rebound is way up there at 154.59. So you have a ways to confirm another leg higher in shares of Baidu. Just real quickly, these banks are concerning me for the overall market. JP Morgan, had the rally, but it's already started to come off. What do you have? You had a new low at 127. How high did you get? 144.37. That's 17. Half that, 8.5. You had 8. Man, this is right at this area, man. Bank America, you want to see this thing hold in 134.5, 135 today or turn up, or I don't know. The banks are just not acting well in what could be a rising interest rate environment. But once again, I think the fears of a slowdown in the economy and overall a little bit over taking that today of the prospect of higher interest rates versus lower, loan growth and a declining economy. So, all right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up for today. S&P's up 4.5 handles here at 45, 43, 75. Important to take out that pre-market high and don't get too full. Let's just see if we can stay in a bid in the mid 44.50 handle. I'm on the downside. The close minor support, but once again, not looking for any major follow through on the downside until we take out that pre-market low at 27.75. Thanks for joining me this morning. Back with you at 10:30 a.m. with pre-market prep with stock odds.